Who wants to volunteer to draw that? Everybody should be shaking because, oh my God, this is so complicated. I'll never be able to do this. But who's volunteering to copy this version of the image? I suspect that everybody would say, I can do this, right? Look at it. It's just 4 shapes. So what I'm saying is, in order to get here, you're going to have to pass by this stage. And this stage is actually really easy. But let me tell you, nobody goes through the step. They don't stay there long enough. And perhaps people like me are to blame because I get to this step in about 15 minutes and boom, I race right through it. And then very quickly, after 2 hours, you already see eyes and noses and all these other things. So you think, within 2 hours, I need to get to a nose or an eye. But that depends on your experience level. And if you are a beginner, you want to be doing exercises that just end here. Hundreds of 10-minute attempts to just get the big 4 shapes of the composition. Now, if you look at this thing in isolation, nobody would know that it's an eye. It shouldn't look like an eye. If it looks like an eye, you're not looking closely enough. True observation will lead you to make shapes that are unexpected and weird. And that's how it's supposed to be. The main thing that causes people to misapprehend sizes and proportions is the fact that they are busy not looking at the shapes for what they are, but rather looking at the shapes for what they represent. They are captured by the fact that that is a nose, in fact, as opposed to looking at what shapes actually create that vision of the nose, right? So everything we are looking at, no matter how realistic or abstract it is composed of shapes that are fundamentally abstract. And a good way to think about this, even though it sounds a little lame, but I think it's an excellent example, is think about how a printer never fails in proportions. How does the printer know how to render a nose? The printer doesn't know what a nose is. The printer doesn't know what an eye is. The printer definitely doesn't know what a hair is. So how could it be that we could feed any image into a printer and get an accurate echo of that image? It's because the printer just knows about abstract properties. It just knows locations on the page and what kind of pixel color is required, right? But the printer looks at a photograph of your loved one and sees abstract shapes. That's what the printer sees. And that's why the printer gets it right every time. Because when we are captured by the narrative, the brain interferes and tells us what things need to look like. But in fact, what it ends up doing is making things look symbolic or iconic. Emoji. When you look at an emoji of an eye, it tells the story eye, the narrative eye, but it doesn't look like a real eye. If you're looking for precision that doesn't have communication as its main goal, then you need to forget what it is that you're looking at. The reason why we don't want to make the shapes dark before we are confident about them is because it's going to make them really difficult to alter, right? It's going to make them difficult to erase. In vast majority of mediums, if you put a big dark spot and then you decide that this spot has to move or change, you are going to wish that you haven't put anything dark in there at all. So what does that mean? That means that when we're in pursuit of shapes and in pursuit of proportions, and we know we shouldn't be making anything dark yet because we're still chasing our design, what are we working with if we don't have values, if we don't have edges? What are we doing? We're working with lines. And the longer you continue working with line to gain more and more and more confidence about the design before you start adding values, the higher your chances are for making sure that your design is actually correct, that your proportions are actually correct. There's going to be nothing but happiness in your heart when you arrive at a design that has all the correct shapes, so that later you can come in with the values and just cast them into the mold.
If you found this information useful, I'm sure you'll love the complete video workshop, Portraiture in Pencil. This workshop is packed with more of these theoretical principles, and I demonstrate how to put them to practice step by step. You can watch it all on my Patreon at patreon.com/Ken Goshen. You can sign up for free and watch hundreds of hours of video lessons for all experience levels. By signing up, you'll also be supporting my mission of making high-quality art education accessible to anyone who wants to learn. Visit patreon.com/Ken Goshen. Thanks in advance.